Modeling great looking water is easier than you think. With the right materials and a little bit of patience, you too can achieve great looking results. Here's how I did mine. For this project, I'll be using a variety of Vallejo paints and golden products, both of which can be found at most hobby shops or craft shops. Before painting anything, I cut a piece of 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch MDF to size to serve as the basin for the water, and I sealed it with some dull coat, or you could use a lacquer of some kind. You can see here that I didn't even really do a very good job. The point is just to get it sealed so the paint will stick to it properly. I then used some plaster to fill in the gaps along the edges of the shoreline, and I filled that in and sanded it smooth. With that out of the way, I could then begin airbrushing the base color. I started with Russian green. Then gunship green. I then transitioned to cam dark green. And lastly, black green. And you can see the technique that I'm doing here is I'm starting with more of a brownish yellow color near the shoreline. I get a little bit more turquoise towards the more shallow but cleaner clear water. And then as we get into the deeper water, I'm using some of the darker colors. Once I got the initial base coat on, I went back over with a few more passes of the lighter colors just to help transition them a little bit more smoothly. And already this is looking pretty good. With the water basin now painted, I decided to move on with the golden medium glaze, and here I am applying it with a sponge. And in hindsight, I wish I didn't do this with a natural sponge because it incorporated a lot of air bubbles into it. You could just use a regular, like a makeup sponge, probably would have been better. But yeah, the product here is golden medium glaze. I also probably should have used the GAC 500, but at the time I did not have access to GAC 500. This is all I could get at my local Michael's. So this is what I used, and this sort of just acted as a base glazing for the rest to stick to. Before moving on any further with the water, or the water texture, I guess I should say, I thought it'd be good to add some of the riprap on the side here, some of the breakwater, or I don't know what you would even call it, jetty material. It's just crushed rock is what it is. For this, I'm using some natural rock product from NYCH. In hindsight, I really am not particularly happy with this product. It's supposed to be a real rock, and I thought maybe, according to the website, it would be more like a granite or a limestone or something like that. And this is just like the sort of stuff you'd find at the bottom of a fish tank. It's not that great. It's not terrible, but it could have been better. Anyway, here I'm gluing it down with some matte medium directly applied to the slope to replicate that breakwater sort of curvature, 45-degree angle there. And I will come back later on and paint this and add a tide line and so on and so forth. But this is just the initial coating. And I'll do a couple passes of this rock material to make sure that it is thick enough. This is also a good time to mention that all of these golden products are acrylic based and will dissolve if you hit them with alcohol or diluted alcohol, so be very careful. With the breakwater now dry, I can move on to actually texturing the water a little bit. And here I'm using golden semi-gloss. This product comes in a few different gloss finishes, like a high gloss, a medium gloss, low gloss. I'm using semi-gloss here, and I first started applying it on straight with a spatula, and oh my God, this stuff goes on thick. I was not prepared for this. It is basically the consistency of cake frosting or batter or, cream cheese even. So I decided that I would mix in some of the the golden medium glaze to help thin it out. And you can see here, I'm just squirting it in here and there to try to help spread it out a little bit more because the texture was just way too stiff. It needed to be thinned out significantly. Eventually what I end up doing is mixing a 50-50 mixture of the semi-gloss with the medium glaze in a cup and then stippling it onto the surface as you're seeing here. Again, in retrospect, I wish I didn't do this with a natural sponge because it did incorporate a lot of air bubbles, which made a lot of the dried material kind of white. And it sort of works in some situations, but in others, it looks a little too bubbly, is the best way to really put it. If you're going to be doing this technique yourself, I recommend using maybe a makeup sponge or a more finer sponge to apply it because it just incorporates way too many bubbles. And once you do that, it just becomes kind of white, which you'll see in just a moment. So I'm really doing my best to try to spread it out and stipple it. I'm getting a base texture for my surface here. I'm not trying to make waves necessarily. I'm just trying to add some basic ripples. And the work time for these products is probably on the order of an hour or two, depending on how thick you mix it. So you don't have to rush. You can really take your time. And here you can see the result of those ripples, and I just need to wait for it to dry, but this is what it sort of looks like when I was done. And it kind of looks like there's a pattern in there, and I don't necessarily think that it was definitely not intentional, and it didn't dry that way. So I'm not sure if that's just a coincidence or a trick of the lighting because of the light coming in through the window there, but that pattern is definitely just a coincidence and not intentional. And now, as you can see here, this is after it dried for about 48 hours. You can see a lot of the air bubbles that got incorporated into that texture. The texture is great, I just don't love the white air bubbles. As time went on, after a few more days of drying, it dried a little bit more clear, so the bubbles were not quite as obvious, but I was initially very disappointed at the amount of bubbles that I saw in the textures. Otherwise, it looks great, and you could probably stop here if you wanted to, but we're gonna continue on and add some more waves. Before we do that though, I just want to mention that this product, these golden products, this gel, this acrylic or whatever, it dries nice and hard. It is not sticky. It does not feel like gel-like once it dries and once it cures. It is a very hard, durable material. I mean, if you were to put like a coffee cup on the surface and let it sit, it would probably eventually leave a ring in the product, but it does dry very hard to the touch. It's not sticky. It's not gooey. It does feel very hard and very solid. And the final product at the very end of this video still has that same consistency. Even though it's built up layer after layer after layer, it is not goopy whatsoever. So I just wanted to mention that before we get too much further. Now it's finally time to start bringing in some of the waves. To do this, I mixed the golden semi-gloss with some GAC 500. GAC 500 is a little bit more liquidy than any of the other products that I've been using so far. So what I did was I used about 60 to 70% of the GAC 500 and I mixed it with the golden semi-gloss and created sort of a thickish gel. You kind of have to just figure out what the ratio is that you're looking for, what works best for you. So once I got that mixed, I decided to start applying it with a brush, and I used sort of a semi-stiff square brush. The technique I used was to just take a glob of the material and just brush it towards the shore in a wave-like manner. I tried to avoid any patterns by doing this. Just use your artistic skills and you'll be just fine. Since I was using a brush for this process, it avoided integrating too many bubbles. So in the end, it ends up drying pretty clear, and I was very happy with that. On the other hand, the wave effect that you see here actually dried a little bit more flat once it was dry. But we're going to come through again in a few minutes, and we're going to add even more ripples. At this point, I decided to begin painting the riprap, and what I wanted to do was just tone down that white tone that was on it, add a little bit more of a natural rock color, as well as adding some like muck to represent the tide line here. So this is just the first initial pass of mud and muck. And this next pass here represents the high tide line, so I made it a little bit darker and a little bit more grimy. This is the Hudson, New York Harbor after all. It's not the cleanest water on the planet. And I apologize that the color of the clips keeps changing in between each one. I recorded this over the course of several nights and mornings and afternoons, so the lighting changed throughout the day, obviously. And right here, you can kind of get a good idea of what the effect of the ripples are. They're not very pronounced. It dried a little bit more flat than I had expected, but we're gonna add some more. So this is the final step and perhaps even the secret weapon of this entire process here. I mixed up another batch of GAC 500 with the golden semi-gloss. I mixed it a little bit more thick this time. I think maybe 60% semi-gloss and 40% of the GAC 500, maybe even a little bit thicker. I can't really remember. But anyway, what I did here was I placed globs of the product onto the surface of my water here, and I used my airbrush with nothing in it, just I needed the air, and I used that to blow the product into place, and this gave some very natural and authentic looking ripples. You have to be very careful doing this to make sure you don't blow it away, but this was really the trick and the key to getting very realistic waves here. And I only used this technique around the shore and around the piers. You could do this wherever you want, obviously, and as many waves and ripples as you want, but since this is New York Harbor, a lot of the waves form and break very close to the shoreline, so that's what I'm trying to replicate here. So by doing large, I guess, patterns of it across a large area, you can get a very convincing effect. And I also used some GAC 500 in its purest form to fill in the gaps in between the high points of the waves and the lower points. The GAC 500 does a very good job just spreading out and filling any gaps. It does not hold its shape very well, so it's good for just sort of just filling in an area. I did stop recording after this clip, so I don't have any further video of me doing this, but I did repeat this process a few more times, adding more waves and sort of building on the ones that were there, and then using the GAC 500 to fill in any gaps or anything like that. One thing that I did forget to mention is that when you're using the airbrush, you don't have a whole lot of time to work with the product because you're blowing air on it. So as you're blowing air on it, you are drying the product out. So just be careful if you do this technique that you don't spend too much time blowing air onto the GAC 500 or onto the golden products, because they'll just sort of eventually freeze in place and you'll end up with these very stiff peaks that you might not necessarily want. As you can see, I used this technique to model the ocean / New York Harbor / the Hudson River, whatever the body of water is that you want to call it. It's a large body of water. I think you could use this technique to model pretty much any type of water that you want, whether it be a pond or a stream or a creek, large bodies of water, small bodies of water. You just have to change the technique around a little bit, add more or less ripples. The nice thing about the golden products is that they hold their shape very well. So if you want to add some ripples, you could add lots of ripples. If you want it to be nice and smooth and have a glassy surface, you can also achieve that if you use some of the more watery products. You'll have to build the layers up a little bit more, but I think you could also achieve that glassy look using the same products here. It doesn't have to be ripply water bodies. The point is, you don't have to feel like you have to use resin for your water. I used that on my previous layout. It made a huge mess. It ruined some of my models and I hated it. So use this technique to avoid doing resin. It's a lot cleaner and it's easier to use. I hope you guys found this video useful, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing some more.